Hello, this is Hooked by Happenstance. I'm Kendra, and if you can't tell from the box sitting on my lap, it's time for another episode of Freaker Frog. Freaker Frog is my ongoing series here at Hooked by Happenstance where I face my fear of the unfinished. I go into my woebegone whips, and I make some choices. I pull something out of this box which contains the majority of my naughty corner, basically, or things that I don't think I want anymore that I've come across in cleaning my office and various things, and they all end up in here. So it is time for me to lay my hands on something and make a choice right now if I'm going to freak out about it, put it on my hook and get it finished, or if I'm going to frog the item and reclaim the good yarn out of a bad project. So I guess we'll just pick the brightest thing here on the top to chat about. Oh, so this is a cowl. I made it at this point, let's see. I made it 4 years ago? Yes. Maybe 4.5 years ago. When I was originally doing craft shows and just selling crocheted stuff at craft shows. And handmade cards. So when I first started selling things at craft shows, my first show was a local to me show. They did like an art show. And I made a sign for my booth, which I used for a while. It was very large and kind of hard to hang up. But it was like bunting, like it had little flags. And I did all the letters for my old business name. And so I had that and I had it hang up. And I picked the colors for my business because of the yarn that I had on hand, because I wanted to make my sign in time to go. So that is where my bright spring green got picked. And at the time, I also used this kind of blue to go with it because, like I said, I had the yarn on hand when I was making the sign, and I didn't have enough of the green to do the flags out of the green, so the flags were out of the blue and the words were out of the green. And thus became a whole color scheme that I just went with because I picked based on the yarn that I had in stash at the time. It's a really bad way to pick colors for your business. Now, the green has stuck. The green is actually where I would have leaned anyways because if you can't tell, I like super vibrant bright green. In large part, I really like purple. But I didn't think purple was a good color for like any of my business marketing materials because especially when I was crocheting things, I made so much stuff that was purple that I felt like it clashed to have different shades of purple all together, like to have a purple business card attached to something purple. If the colors weren't right, it looked really bad. So I picked a color that I thought coordinated. So I've always kind of gone with a black theme with green accents, and there used to be this blue, but I've ditched the blue because I don't really care for the blue. I only picked that blue color because it was convenient at the time. And some of you have experienced this blue color. Here's a little behind the curtain. If you purchase things from my shop and they are wrapped in bright blue tissue paper, I bought a gigantic thing of tissue paper when I first started selling stuff in the blue to match green bags that I use, like handled bags, plastic bags, that I put items in when I'm at craft shows. So I bought these two things together to kind of coordinate. Well, I now have bags separate, but I have been using that tissue paper to wrap orders for a couple years now. Now I'm almost, I think, to the end of the blue tissue paper, and then we're going to get something new. So that'll be exciting when that happens. For a while, I was also using some multicolored tissue paper, which I also purchased for a project with my old branding. But the blue tissue paper remains. So this cowl, I figured, I made it and I wore to some craft shows that I did during the fall and the winter of that year. But I ultimately never wear it because I just don't really like it. These aren't colors that I think suit me, especially not together. I don't have much that matches them. This is just sat in my closet. I had made myself a matching apron that I had crocheted that I would wear to shows. I frogged that apron during my great frogging of things that I did off camera in my office because I wasn't going to use it anymore. I didn't like the way it fit overall, and given the change up in the things that I'm selling, it didn't seem like a necessary thing. So if I do want an apron, I'll just wear one that I've sewn. So I think that we all know what's going to happen to this. I'm going to frog this because it's still good yarn. And I got what I needed out of it. I got the experience of getting to wear it at the shows. It matched, and I thought it was good at the time. People thought it was cute. But it doesn't match me now. And I think it's important to not hold on to you of like 2 or 3 years ago or longer just because it's done. If it no longer matches your personality, your like aesthetic, your color scheme. I wasn't dyeing my hair at the time. I hadn't started dyeing my hair yet, so I had very brown hair, which matched better with this than the current color scheme. So I need to let it go. And I think that I will feel better using this yarn in something else. I know what I'm going to do with this yarn. So I'm going to frog this out. I'm going to ball it up. And I'm going to put it into my scrap stash. And it will end up ultimately in my scrap stash blanket or some scrap project that I make. And I already know when I look at these two colors, whenever I see them together, I kind of like remember what they're from. And it like, I don't know, it reminds me that there was a time when I looked at some random clearance yarn in Walmart and said, hey, you know what? Maybe I should start selling the things that I'm making. And then it has just snowballed from there. And not that I'm like ridiculously successful, but people like what I've made. I have sold things at shows. It has been lovely. I made the choice to stop selling crocheted items at shows because there was not enough profit in it to make me happy for the time investment. But it was not that they were not things that people liked or things that children loved buying. So I got what I needed out of that whole process of selling the crocheted stuff. And I continue to make crocheted things, and you know, it's part of my life. And this was kind of the beginning of it becoming as rooted as it is. But I don't need this cowl to have that feeling. I think it's an important thing to remember that we don't need items to have the feeling. That feeling is going to be there anyways. So I'm going to frog this, and then it can become something new and better. Right, so this is all of the green bits, and these are the blue bits. Now, I forgot, even though I was holding the cowl, that it was double-stranded. So that was a little bit more time-consuming than I expected. Also interesting is, since this was so old, my way of weaving in ends was different. Like, I just mentally couldn't follow my process the way I ordinarily can, so that was interesting. And the ends were woven in plenty good. In fact, they might have been woven in better than I sometimes weave them in now. But they just, my brain couldn't track where the things were going because it was not only woven in, but they were also seamed. So now I'm going to go and stick these in their scrap stash location. So I would recommend that you take a look around. Are there some things that you have made that you are holding on to that you are not wearing? Items that are done but are never going to get utilized because they no longer serve your life? Well, then maybe that yarn can serve a better purpose. I think it's at least worth considering, and I've been trying to consider that a lot as I put my hands on things that are finished. Is it something that could be better served going to somebody else? Is it something that I would be better served absorbing the yarn for? Or is it something that I want to utilize? Like, there are plenty of things that I've come across that I have made in the past that I almost just forget exist because I've moved on to something new. So going back and seeing those items and then making an effort to incorporate them into your wardrobe. Sometimes it just means finding the right outfit. Like, if you have a cowl, say, and you look at it, you think, what can I put this with? Think of 2 or 3 tops that you have, or something that it would match in particular. Maybe when you wear this certain hat, you'll make an effort to wear that cowl. And it helps you to actually use the things that you're making. Because it does nobody any good for you to make things and have them sit unutilized. It's just a waste of space, and it's a waste of materials when you could be doing something with those that would be more worthwhile. So, just a thing to think about. It definitely is a thing that has been going through my head a lot when I look at stuff that I have tucked around. So the longer that you do a craft like this, the more things that you kind of amass, and the more you have to keep reassessing their value in your life and whether they're earning their space. So that is all I have to say for today. I am doing beta here on the channel, so every day in April there will be a video and there will be some more Freaker Frogs. So look forward to that. Subscribe down below if you have not already, because I don't put things out on an actual schedule, even if there's something coming out every day. So if you want to make sure that they always pop up into your subscription feed, that is the way to do it. And I will see you all next time. Bye!